All right, so let's talk about Monday Night Raw. Because I've been critical the last couple weeks of Monday Night Raw. And sometimes I swear that Triple H is listening to me. I know he's not. I'm not naive. But sometimes I do swear that Triple H is listening to me because all of a sudden, all of the things I've complained about for the last 2.5 weeks, they fixed them. They fixed Monday Night Raw. So this is the top 5 things that I think Monday Night Raw got right this week. Starting with Becky Lynch's cold opening. It's hard. I think it would be, I'd never want to be in Triple H's shoes. I never want to own a wrestling company. I never want to have to book. I love to sit in this chair and fantasy book and tell you guys how fucking genius I am and how right I am, and then ignore all the times I'm wrong. Because that's all you have to do, right? When you talk, you just ignore the times you're wrong. There's an impossible thing you have to deal with when you book wrestling shows, and that is, do you continue going to the well of the people that work, or do you cultivate new talent? And the problem is with Becky Lynch, she works. Everything Becky Lynch does works. Every time she comes to the ring, the crowd responds. And so opening Monday Night Raw with Becky Lynch, when I first read that, I go, here we go. And then Becky goes into the crowd and cuts a promo with our guy Bobby and Zachary there. That was phenomenal. It was the perfect opening to the show. It gave Monday Night Raw personality. Maybe this is what's been missing is Becky Lynch. Maybe what's been missing is the Street Profits, right? But Monday Night Raw had personality again. It felt like a unique show. It feels... it feels like they got the crowd back involved. And like I said, I don't know if Triple H, I don't know if somebody's in his ear. I don't know who's talking, but it needed personality. It got personality. The fact that they went up and fought in the stands, that they went up and they fought in the concession area, all of that stuff felt like things that engaged the crowd. The last couple of weeks, Monday Night Raw has felt like just wrestling match, 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 wrestling match. It's lacked that backstage kind of feel that keeps casual fans' minds running. We can stay involved. We can stay in it. And Becky opened the show perfectly. She got the crowd involved. I think she picked up the energy of the show. And coming out of Survivor Series, that's what you needed on Monday Night Raw. SmackDown will now have to compete again. Like, SmackDown will have to have that same energy, and then we'll be back running full stride. The second thing that I liked about Monday Night Raw, we got the OC and the Judgment Day match that we should have got at War Games. This was the match I was calling for. Now, I would have preferred it to be a Survivor Series elimination style match, but I know on Monday Night Raw you don't necessarily have the time or space for that long of a match. But we got it. They got that part right too. I wanted that at War Games, but fuck it, right? We got a good match at War Games with Finn and AJ Styles, and we got this match at Monday Night Raw. So who am I to complain about this? This is awesome. One thing I wish that would happen, though, is that WWE just needs to drop this intergender tag rule. It's stupid. Let them fight. Let Rhea Ripley fight with the guys. You can control it through story. You don't have to control it through rules. I did like the idea that Rhea Ripley just ignored the rule altogether anyway. I think it made for a fun match. Look, you saw Mia Yim and Rhea Ripley. They have motors. They can go. They can fight with the men. And that's awesome, man. That was a great, the first 2 matches of Monday Night Raw, opening up with Becky Lynch and then going straight into the OC and Judgment Day. There was energy there. And I can say whatever I want about Dominic Mysterio, but he's getting a little bit of a reaction from the crowd, especially when he's in purposeful matches. Rhea Ripley's doing her thing. I called for the end of the Judgment Day, but then you do something interesting. This is that roller coaster booking from Triple H I'm talking about, right? It's up and down. It's up and down. It doesn't make sense. Finn takes a clean pin, and then all of a sudden we get the match we want. We get, Judgment Day winning. But I'm not going to complain about that because this was the match I wanted to see, and this is the match I got to see. And so Monday Night Raw starts off 1 and 2 extremely good. So then we roll that into number 3. And that is the third thing that Monday Night Raw got right was bringing back the Street Profits. Jesus, the energy that these guys have. That like the life they inject into a show that I've been saying, Monday Night Raw has felt stale. It's felt boring. The crowd hasn't been involved. And then all of a sudden you start injecting personality back into the show. Becky Lynch, personality. The Street Profits, personality. There is not a team in professional wrestling outside of the Acclaimed who can energize a crowd the way the Street Profits do. The Street Profits and the Acclaim right now. The New Day used to be, but the New Day have cooled off a little bit. The Usos, while they work good, they don't affect the crowd the way that the Street Profits and the Acclaim do. Those two teams have so much energy. And so you saw it on Monday night when they came out, the crowd just gets hyped. They get out of their seat. They're excited. And now we got to talk about, is Angelo Dawkins in the best shape of his life? He looked phenomenal. Like, you talk about a guy who buckled down, and there was a discussion at a point in time. 6 months ago, we would have conversations. I would talk about Montez Ford, and Montez Ford is the next big star, which still is, no doubt. Montez Ford is the next biggest thing in professional wrestling. But we got to talk about Angelo Dawkins because he's keeping pace with Montez Ford now. This is a guy who went to he went to the back, sat in his locker at some point and said, hey, I could do this too. And he went and he put the work in the gym. And we have to recognize, like, he's standing toe for toe with Montez Ford. He's doing the same moveset now, while also throwing big bodies around. Angelo Dawkins, don't sleep on Angelo Dawkins being one of the other big next things in WWE. The Street Profits are a big deal. And while everybody was calling to break them up, I think right now we may see like a renaissance of the Street Profits, and it's time. Like, we gotta start. And I think I'm jumping. My brain's all over the place right now. But we got to talk about, so we're getting a tag team match next week with Riddle and Elias, which, once again, clusterfuck team thrown together, but okay, whatever. But we're starting to see that the tag team belts defended a little bit more. I think that Triple H, he heard what I said. We got to start defending these belts. We got to start giving guys purpose. Guys can't just be running around having tag team matches that don't matter. We got to get... Hey, man, if it's Riddle and Elias, that's cool. The Street Profits need in that mix. The Alpha Academy need in that mix, which, just side notes, I fucking said I think that if the Street Profits came back and fought against the Alpha Academy, that I was going to do something. I'll have to go back and watch and say what it was. But that is just like the formula for whoever comes back gets to fight the Alpha Academy. The fourth thing that I thought Monday Night Raw got correct, and this is kind of a callback to the other three that I talked about here, but that was the crowd interaction. And if you don't think that was deliberate, you're insane. The amount of time that wrestlers went into the crowd or engaged with the crowd directly was by design. WWE and Monday Night Raw especially has had a problem in the last couple weeks with the crowd falling asleep, the crowd going quiet on them. And so if you don't think that there was a deliberate meeting in the back from Triple H or whoever that said, we're going into Becky starting off the show in the crowd, that's deliberate. That engages the crowd, that forces the crowd to pay attention. Dexter Lumis and The Miz having a anything goes match where they can spill out into the crowd, that's deliberate. The Street Profits not entering straight down the ramp, jumping the barricade, walking through the crowd, that's deliberate. Those are all things that keep the crowd excited and awake. 3 hours is a long time. I've been to numerous Monday Night Raws. 3 hours is a long time to sit through a wrestling show, especially if it's just wrestling match. So that going into the crowd, that is deliberate, and expect to see that on a consistent basis moving forward. Pay attention here, guys. The Monday Night Raw is going to be a show that goes into the crowd more and more often, because I think they saw this week how well that works. And the last thing that Monday Night Raw got correct was that was a main event. That was a main event. That's what we've been complaining about. No disrespect to Asuka. No disrespect to Alexa Bliss. No disrespect to Bianca Belair. But the last couple weeks where those women have been main eventing Monday Night Raw have not felt like a main event. They just felt like the ending to a show. But KO and Jey Uso, main event Jey Uso, that was the main event. I don't think that from here forward, there should be a show that ends without Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, or Becky Lynch being in the main event. Those are your main event talent. Use them the way they're supposed to be used. Kevin Owens and Jey Uso put on a show. The whole Sami Zayn storyline, the thread lines that are running through that whole bloodline thing. Once again, here it goes. The Usos are back to save the day, along with Kevin Owens, but they saved the day. That was the main event that Monday Night Raw needed. This felt to me, and I don't want to sound like the old head, but Kevin Owens and Kevin Owens and main event Jey Uso felt like an Attitude Era main event. When you tie in the Sami Zayn stuff and you tie in all the bloodline and Kevin Owens and this long build, it felt more like a Attitude Era main event. Not bad. 41 minutes. That's not a bad show. Wasn't a lot to talk about, but I told you guys I was going to get passionate and ramble because I actually did enjoy Monday Night Raw this week, which is good. I'm glad. I'm excited. Now I'm excited to go watch Dynamite this week and then SmackDown. Hopefully we get a trifecta. We get 3 good shows. I think MJF is supposed to be on Dynamite this week, which that's always basically the reason I want to watch Dynamite. But that is all the time that I have today, guys, for the Casual Wrestling Daily Podcast. We're going to pick up where we left off tomorrow. Make sure to tune in Monday through Friday for more amazing WWE and AEW wrestling podcasting content. Tomorrow we're going to do a bracket fight, and I'm gonna look more into what we're doing. I think I'm going to design this one. I was thinking about breaking down and doing a who had the best gear at Survivor Series War Games. So I think that'll be our bracket fight for tomorrow. But as always, I am the Notorious Nerdy D, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.
Step in the ring, if you ready, let's go. Hey, Casual Wrestling Community Show. You already know, talking WWE. Keep it rolling and hosted by Notorious Nerdy D. Don't for sure that you gon' find. Tune in cause it's online. Hit 'em with a figure 4 leg lock, power driver or clothesline. We bringing that heat like the show, but you